Stupid Garbage Podcast.
Oh, I like that. All right. Okay. Hello, Rob.
Hi, Jess. How are you?
Hello. I'm good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
That's nice. I'm good.
Good.
You?
Fine.
Great.
So, I'm already out of stuff.
We've got a lot to talk about today.
We got a lot to talk about. Jess is excited. She has...
I have a prep sheet.
Sheets?
Yeah.
Plural?
No.
Oh. Well, baby
I
steps.
sat on it.
That's okay. You put that anywhere.
So here's what happened today. So Rob and I went on a walk. We should have that more often where we have like a podcast meeting, essentially. We went on a walk and he was saying...
I really don't want
I know.
that to be part
That's
of my
why
life.
I didn't bring it up because I was like, he's going to hate that.
You did just bring it up just now.
Well, look.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah. Basically, Rob said he wanted to do a movie kind of thing where we talk about, or he wants the movies that we watch to be ones from the best, that are best picture winners. So, that's an interesting idea.
Something, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, you seem exhausted.
Well, it's been a long life.
Also, dear reader, Rob mentioned the fact that he wanted to do his podcast earlier, and now we're doing our podcast earlier, so...
Yeah, dear reader, it's only 1:17 a.m.
I came up at 12:30 and I asked him if he wanted to do his podcast, and he said no. And I said, okay, I'll go distract myself for a little, and that's what happened.
It's not really how it happened, but...
I did ask you earlier. I asked you much earlier if you wanted to pod. And you know there's a running, you text me when you're ready thing. And you never text me, so I came up when I was ready.
So what do we got on tap today?
Well, all I did was what you told me to do. I didn't come up with any extra topics, so if you have any extra topics...
What do you got?
Well, why don't you do yours?
Because I'm asking you to do yours. What do you got?
Why are you always in charge?
It's my idea. I'm in charge because I'm the executive producer and I do all the work for the podcast.
So
I'm not explaining this to you every third episode. It's getting exhausting.
You're gonna have to. So basically, you asked me to make a running list, and by running list, you asked me to choose the best and worst movie of the 2010s. Is what you said, because you wanted to do a 2020 recap.
And 2010s recap. And all decade review. Since you want to do movie reviews, we're going to pick a best and a worst.
Precisely.
Best and a worst movie from the decade that we just closed out a few months ago.
But here's the thing, as you can see...
2010 to 2019. Jesus Christ. One movie.
Here's what happened.
You filled up an entire sheet of...
Listen to me. Here's what happened. First of all, this has been a trip down memory lane because I was looking at all the movie titles and I was like, wow, I remember what my life was like when I watched each one and like who I was with, and it was a beautiful trip. Basically, here's what happened. So I wanted to do my due diligence, right? So I went through the top 50, the top 100, and the top 200. 3 separate people making these lists.
So there's no consistency. What's the fucking point of doing the
Exactly, because I don't trust anyone. I just trust me. And then I was not satisfied with their answers. And I thought there must be more to life than this. So I went to Wikipedia and I looked up every single Wikipedia.
Okay.
Wikipedia.
Close.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, fine.
To Wiki.
It's fine. You're from Belarus. I'll forgive you.
Anyway, so I looked up every single movie that was released in every single year. And it doesn't have a running list. So I just have to click each year by the year. And I had to look through every single film that came out between 2010 and 2020. So, I'm just saying, I'm very dedicated to this podcast.
No, man, that's
and I don't shy
dedication.
Away from work.
That's autism.
Stop.
Dude, that's not...
I'm just saying that I don't shy away from work from this, and I'm dedicated to the podcast. So I read every single movie title from the past decade.
I'm so tired.
Well, isn't it better than me being like, oh shit, I forgot?
I don't think so. Honestly, I
also wrote down like a bunch of these are jokes or like they're just little comments.
I'm laughing already. Well, then let's go. Well, let's tear off a few because I have one from each category as I thought we agreed upon.
We didn't do categories. What are you
Best and worst.
Oh.
One best, one worst.
Okay.
I might have a runner-up.
I
for
can
one
probably pick. Okay, just chill out.
Why don't you read them all off? You wrote them all down.
Okay, ready?
You spent
So,
6 hours doing this, apparently, like fucking Rain Man. Why don't you?
I don't trust critics. Okay.
Rain Man wins $80,000 in a night counting cards. You came up with this list. Don't throw that away.
80,000 movie titles. Basically, the first one I wanted to say, my favorite movie from the 2010s would be Barbie and a Mermaid Tale.
I'm fucking Jessica.
I thought that was a very Rob-esque answer.
Give me that paper. I'm gonna eat it.
No.
I'm gonna eat that sheet of paper.
Okay.
I'm gonna make you eat that sheet of paper.
For real. Oh, another aside, in one of the lists, Under the Skin was listed as one of the best movies from the 2010s. And I brought that up a couple of pods ago.
Never even heard of it.
Sweetheart, it's the one where she eats men.
What?
I made you watch the clip of her eating men. She basically, it's Scarlett Johansson, and she lures men in her little weird thing, and the music goes, it's like a violin or some shit, and so it's really,
yeah, sharp.
Yes. And she basically just seduces a man, and then backs farther and farther away, and then the man just goes down, and all of a sudden he starts, like, falling into liquid.
Who's eating who?
Ayo.
Come on. Is this sort of pod?
You're nudging me to laugh as if I'm not already
Laugh,
laughing. Yeah,
damn it.
I don't know what you want.
We're going blue, baby. There's no going back. So I have no fucking.
I brought it up on the podcast.
Jessica's making shit up again. Just what's the next movie? Oh my god!
But anyway, that was listed, and I wanted to write it.
Did you just write down every single movie you found? Because it's kind of looking like that.
Okay, so
What do you mean, just read one.
Okay, well, so,
Are you kidding me?
This is my list. Get off of me. Okay.
Boyhood was on there.
So Boyhood I haven't seen.
Are you kidding me?
But it was on every single list.
I'm gonna be back here.
And
I'm just gonna be way back here.
Boyhood was on every single list, so I thought it was worth mentioning. I'm pretty sure my mom knows Ethan Hawke personally.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
No, she doesn't.
Okay, she has his phone number.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, she does. They text sometimes. Anyway.
No.
So
None of this is true.
Not recently. They have texted in the past. Anyway, and I'm pretty sure he was talking to my mom about it, and she said,
Theater of the mind.
Oh my god. I'm not going to tell you how they know each other, because I feel like that would be a breach of confidentiality.
You can, because it's all made up. What does it matter?
Oh my god. Anyway, so speaking of Ethan Hawke, Daybreakers. That's that.
Another movie you haven't seen. Great.
Sam Neill and Ethan Hawke, and it's the vampire movie that I also have been trying to get you to see that you refused to. But that was actually.
That came out in like 2006.
I don't know. It didn't. It also is on a list of the best movies. Like, I didn't come up with it. Like, I read it on the top 200 list.
Jessica Journer published this list.
I made a break in the page so that you would know which ones were the actual ones that I got off of legitimate lists, and then the ones that I just was looking at.
Daybreakers came out in 2009, you horse's ass.
It was on the list. Of the 2010s.
Was it of the last 10 years, published in 2016?
Yes. What?
If it's a... Jessica, if you didn't look at when the list was made...
Oh, goodness. No, I looked up... I specifically Googled the 2010s.
I'm so...
Anyway.
I hate you.
Are you sure about the 2009? Are you sure?
Jessica, please...
Okay.
I literally just looked it up. You watched me look it up.
We're going to erase Daybreakers.
Also, you don't have to tell me how you organized this.
Well, I want you to know that Daybreakers
chaos.
Was legit.
Jessica,
it wasn't just me.
Jessica, I don't care. You can just tell me.
Daybreakers came up on the wiki too. Daybreakers is definitely not 2009.
Are you kidding me right now? You're gonna make me look it up twice?
Was it re-released?
No. What? No.
Anyway.
Why would it be?
I very distinctly remember seeing it, so I'm gonna call your bluff. Anyway. Parasite was on the list. I would agree with Parasite. I don't know if it was like the best picture, but
Daybreakers is a 2009 science fiction action horror film written and directed by Michael and Peter Spierig.
I don't know, you guys.
The film takes place in a futuristic world overrun by vampires and blah 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 blah. Ethan Hawke plays blah blah blah. Willem Dafoe plays a guy named Elvis. Sound familiar?
Yep, it's
produced
the movie,
by Chris Brown.
What?
I don't know if it's the Chris Brown, but
Are you
it's
sure
a Chris Brown.
That there wasn't some sort of a release?
Release date 9/11/2009.
What a weird decision.
Ugh. What is TIFF? I don't care.
Know what you're doing. Parasite. We have a lot of opinions about Parasite. We can do our own thing on Parasite if you want, because it was one of the best picture movies. But that made my list of good movies. Hello?
Yeah.
You really liked Logan, and that came up. Avengers,
I did
also
like
another
that movie.
superhero movie.
I wouldn't put it on my best movies
Okay,
list
well,
of the
anyway.
decade, but
So, my
maybe
best
best
movies.
superhero movie list of the decade.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
Excuse me.
Jurassic Park 3 was on there. Not okay. We're breaking away and we're going into my favorite movies now.
Jessica, that was what?
Okay.
That's what it was supposed to.
So let me think.
Alright,
Walter Mitty was on the list.
Another movie I'm not sure came out in the 2010s.
So my 2019 wasn't a part of the wiki thing. So no movies from 2019.
Okay, that's great. It's only 10% of the decade.
Yeah. So I didn't think
Whatever.
it was important either.
Fuck it.
You know, I have to say, when I was looking through this list, the 2010s were not the best movie decade.
Here's what I kind of found, and I was thinking about it too, that it's not just in movies. I can actually pull it up and we can go year by year.
Are you going to agree with me, or?
Yeah.
Hell
Absolutely.
yeah, Rob.
So,
hell yeah! What a weird thing to say that we both agree on. But yeah,
if you go like year by year, let's say 2019
yeah,
and 2009. 2018, 2008, 2000,
Okay.
blah, 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 blah. And this one says Parasite is 2020, so I guess that's like the year the Oscars were held. So I'm just going to go by this list.
yeah, maybe that's why.
Counting Parasite will be the 2020 Oscars. It won't really change things because I didn't really like Parasite anyway. But
I did.
So if you go by 2000 and then 2010, like
Sure.
to kick off the decade, 2010 the Best Picture winner was The Hurt Locker, which was a good movie,
I
but
didn't
it's
even see
not.
it.
It's not like a cultural staple
Picture.
It was a fine movie, but it's not. No one's talking. Hurt Locker. People forgot about Hurt Locker by 2012.
Again, I didn't even look at. Like, I did not even want to
Whereas
see it.
2000 is American Beauty. You can say you
That's a
don't
big-
like it,
yeah.
but it was a big film.
Yeah.
2001 is Gladiator, whereas 2011 is The King's Speech. Again,
Yeah.
Gladiator is very much in the collective conscious. Like, there's probably
Yeah,
6 months in 2011 where The King's Speech was a bigger deal than Gladiator.
I think
And then
that's-
Gladiator overtook it again because it has staying power. And who's rewatching The King's Speech?
Yeah,
Fucking nobody.
I really want to rewatch Gladiator.
Exactly. No
I've
one
asked
ever-
you that like a million times. Another thing too, like I kept on. That's why I went to the Wikipedia page, because I was like, there must be a movie that I'm not seeing in the top list. Like, why something's missing here? And then I literally looked at every single title, and I was like, nothing was missing. These all just are awful.
Yeah. 2002, another big year for Russell Crowe. A Beautiful Mind, big film. Whereas 2012 is The Artist, which was a black and white silent film that, again, kind
saw-
of flash in the pan.
I clicked on it because I was like, oh, I must have seen this. And then I was like, what the fuck is this? And it looked like it was from the 50s.
Yeah. 2013 was Argo, which was a good movie and a big deal.
Yeah,
And
that
2003 was Chicago, which
I don't even know.
it's a
what-
musical. It's Who Cares About Chicago.
I didn't see that either.
So
I haven't seen like 3 out of these movies so far.
I'll call that a push, I guess. Maybe even give it to 2013. That might be on the board. Then 2004 is Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, which is enormous, obviously. And 2014 is 12 Years a Slave, which is
That was a big movie.
big, but not as big as the Lord of the Rings movies.
Which one? Oh no, I'm thinking Django Unchained.
Yeah, no. 12 Years a Slave was
Different slave
Chiwetel
movie.
Ejiofor and
That was a big
kinda-
deal, but I would agree that The Lord of the Rings is a
much
bigger deal.
Yeah. 2005 was Million Dollar Baby, whereas 2015 is Birdman.
People
That-
still quote Million Dollar Baby. Too.
Yeah, that might be a push, maybe a slight edge to Million Dollar Baby. Birdman, I think, is a better movie, but
Yeah, Birdman did get a bunch of attention.
2006 is Crash, and 2016 is Spotlight. That might be the first one that really
Oh,
the teens win outright.
Spotlight is the pedophilia
Pedophile
thing.
one,
Okay.
yeah. The 2007 movie, 2007 is The Departed.
I like how we both say pedophilia instead of the church.
Well, the church pedophilia, it's kind of redundant.
Sorry, what was
2007 was The Departed, and 2017 was Moonlight, which no one... Moonlight was the biggest...
Moonlight?
I didn't see it, but the biggest news that Moonlight made was that they almost gave the Oscar to La La Land in what was very clearly like a staged
Oh.
mix-up, and then they said, no, Moonlight won. So...
I remember hearing about La La Land. I don't remember Moonlight.
Right, and Moonlight was the one. So The Departed was a very big movie and had
What
quite
was
an
it about?
ensemble cast. It was Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio and like Jack Nicholson or cops in the Boston area.
Vaguely familiar.
There's
I
a lot
didn't see it.
of double crossing, and it was a very good movie, and certainly a very big movie.
Do you remember when my dad was trying to get us to watch a Quentin Tarantino movie last night, and Mom was literally just like, I hate movies where people double cross each other.
That was weird.
That was the funniest
She's
thing.
like, I don't know what's happening. I don't like movies where I don't know who's the good guy. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
She's like, you can never know who to trust.
Okay. 2008, No Country for Old Men, again, a very big movie, whereas 2018 was The Shape of Water, which I'm
No
gonna say
Country
it
for
was
Old Men was good.
Shape of Water is pretty unremarkable, and mostly it was just the punchline for like 6 months of people talking about a lady fucking a fish.
Well, so The Shape of Water, I have a lot to say about that. I don't know if you want to save that because it was one of the best pictures.
Why don't we save it?
Okay.
And then 2009, to end out the decade, 2019 was Green Book, which was a good film, but not
What was
really.
Green Book?
It was the one we talked about this like 3 hours
in
ago.
the car, about the dude, the musician
Viggo
in the South.
Mortensen
Yeah.
drives around the South.
I liked that movie a lot.
It was a good movie, but no one saw it really. Like it wasn't that big a movie.
They
Whereas
should have though.
2009 was Slumdog Millionaire, which was
Oh wait, that was when I was thinking of $1 Million Baby. Oh, $1 Million Baby was
the boxing one.
Oh, with Hilary Swank. Oh, I would say that the teens win on that one. Fucking $1 Million
Birdman
Baby.
over $1 Million
Yeah,
Baby.
yeah, definitely.
I don't know. $1 Million Baby was pretty big.
Really?
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
That was another one that I was like, ew, it looks
I said
awful.
that one was probably a push, but $1 Million Baby was a pretty big movie.
I did not see either of them.
So then,
But just-
your
no,
opinion
just-
of the movie is
No,
irrelevant.
but just I was around to hear the hype about it, and I think Birdman was talked about.
You were 10.
The
It's a
hype.
rated R movie.
Okay.
Who's gonna be talking to you about it?
I watch rated R movies all the time.
In theaters?
Hell yeah, you
When
just
you're
get you just ask a rando to buy you a ticket.
Stop. It's irrelevant because you didn't see $1 Million Baby.
Anyway,
So, 2009, Green Book was a fine movie, but Slumdog Millionaire was nominated for like
Way
15 Oscars.
bigger.
Yeah, it was like the biggest movie of, again, like with Gladiator and Slumdog Millionaire and The Lord of the Rings, like maybe the 3 biggest movies in that 20 year
I was
span.
going to ask you if we could
Are all in
review
there.
or if we could do a 2000 to 2010 because
We
this
might
is
have
so
missed the boat
disappointing.
on that one.
Well, no, I'm
little
just, but I feel like it's a little bit of a dick squeeze, you know what I mean?
Well, I also was
A
thinking...
dick squeeze is how we say a tease, by the
Jessica,
way.
it's like the 6th time we've used that phrase on the podcast.
They might just be like, these people are idiots.
If you're just tuning in now, dear reader...
Exactly. Didn't some people just like randomly view our recent videos and not our old ones? Like, people aren't going in order.
Go back through the catalog, dear
Yeah,
readers.
idiot.
Spend the next, I don't know, at this point, 24 hours looking through all our...
How will you know who we are if you don't, read our...
I think I prefer if they don't know who
You
we are.
also refuse to do an intro episode, so no one knows who we are.
We had an
still.
episode 0 where we said our names and we said what we were doing.
But we never said... No, episode 0 was just us lying around and
Listen to it.
riffing.
You have no idea what it is because you never listen to it.
I listened to the ones that you sent me, and
I send you all of them. I
you
definitely
stopped
sent you
sending
episode
me
0.
the links of the ones
I
that
definitely
you
sent you the
post.
first one. I'm not doing this. Be
Yeah,
quiet.
I listened
Be
to
quiet.
that.
Be quiet. What I was saying is that it was...
Don't tell me to be quiet. I don't like it. Please continue.
Can I help you?
I'm just knocking on your bones.
So, I was thinking, interestingly, if you go back and even widen the scope to being far outside of movies, it seems like every even number decade, like the aughts, I call them the Bond decade because they're the double O's, but
It's cute.
the 80s, the 60s, going back to like the 20s, it seems like the even number decades are the ones where all the big shit happens, and then the odd number decades are basically just like dealing with the fallout of that, or they have like their own smaller version of it.
It's weird.
And I think it's probably for a couple of reasons. Like, for example, if you take the 80s, like the big defining moment of the 80s is probably the Challenger explosion. It's probably
Really?
it's probably like the flashbulb moment of people who are maybe my older sister's age, or maybe even a little older than that.
Uh-huh.
People were born like in the 70s. It's
Did
probably
she
like
remember that?
I think she vaguely does remember the Challenger.
Your sister was alive when that happened?
Yeah, she was. She might have been too young to remember now that I think about it.
Okay.
But I think if you. Yeah, if you say like from 80 to 89 and then the 90s to 99,
Okay.
the big moments are like the Challenger was this huge moment in the 80s, and for 2 reasons why there's not that big similar type of flashbulb moment in the 90s is because when stuff like that happens, like when the Challenger exploded, they were like, okay, we're not showing any more live shuttle launches on TV, obviously, but they just canceled a lot of like the spaceship and the space shuttle programs, and they defunded a lot of NASA. So obviously,
It's kind of a bummer. Like one bad thing happens.
sure,
and...
but that's people are reactive, so it's not going to happen again. And if it does happen again, you'd be like, okay, it's like Columbine. When Columbine happened, it was enormous.
Yeah.
And now it's like, all right, great. Who fucking
happens
cares,
every other
right?
fucking day
When
now.
which is why like Columbine may be the defining moment of the 90s culturally, at least in the United States. Like all of this is only applicable to the United States. I don't fucking know,
Sure.
what's going on in South Africa or
Yeah, I was gonna say,
But,
you had Chernobyl.
but which was also in the 80s. But the 90s.
A lot of big disasters.
Well, the
I mean,
90s.
Not that the Challenger was a big disaster.
No,
offense.
it was a big disaster. It was humongous.
Although,
but the 90s, Columbine was probably the defining moment, and still now, 35 years later, there's never been another Challenger. Whereas we have another school shooting or mass shooting like every 6 months. Maybe more frequently than that.
Way more frequently than that.
So...
Oh, like a mass shooting.
Yeah, like more than like 4 people die.
But
now it's like kids at an arcade trying to beat each other's high score on Mrs. Pac-Man. Like it's whereas there's no other chance. So the reason why it doesn't really hit the collective consciousness is because you get shocked by it the first time, and then after that there's nothing. And also like the 2000s, the big moment, probably the big moment, right? Probably the big moment of the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Is 9/11. Whereas if they knocked down the 2 biggest buildings and knocked a plane into the Pentagon, if they did that, like to do like a 9/12, like if you just knock down another building, like if you crash a plane into the Empire State Building, people would be like, okay, wow, whoa,
oh,
I haven't seen this before. Like even if they kill, say 9/11 killed like 3,000 people, right? Even if 9/12 kills 10,000 people, no one's gonna think of it as a big a deal because we know how to get through it, we know how to get over it. We've seen this before. You'd have to knock down you'd have to kill like 1 million people. Realistically, you'd have to kill 1 million people for people
or like
to say.
I think it would just be like done in a different way, where it's like if we were bombed, maybe, or if it was.
But
I mean, again, if it was biological warfare, like kind of like what's happening now.
Maybe, but my point is that these big moments really define, and then you have the TSA.
Yep, fallout. Fall in, I guess.
Procedures being put in place, so you can't really repeat it, and even if you did, no one's going to be surprised by it, and you. Go back in all of these decades, like the 80s has the Challenger, and it has, like, all the 80s was Ronald Reagan's presidency, and then for like a year and a half, not even really, for a year you had Bush, who was his vice president, was the president. Whereas in the 70s you had 4 years of Carter and 2 years of Ford and 4 years of Nixon, and it's all very tumultuous. There's not really that many big moments in the 70s. Like, oh, there was a gas shortage and there were hostages in Iran. Like, okay.
Wasn't Woodstock?
Woodstock was in the 60s.
Oh.
Woodstock was in the 60s. The Beatles were in the 60s. The Stones were in the 60s.
Well.
Like all this cultural. Plus, the biggest moment of the 60s, again, you could argue maybe the biggest moment, one of the biggest moments in American history was JFK being assassinated.
Yeah,
it was in the
what I was
60s.
gonna say, too.
And you could say, like, oh, well, the
Wasn't
50s.
It in, like, MLK?
Assassinated in the 60s.
Yeah.
You could, most of the civil rights movement was in the 60s. You could say a lot of, like, oh, well, the 50s had, like, the space race, like Sputnik. The 60s had a man walking on the moon.
Yeah.
A man walked on the moon in the 60s. Like, it's not even relatively close.
And the 2020s were starting off pretty strong with a national pandemic.
Right.
An international pandemic.
Global pandemic. The 2020s are an enormous... And even, like, you look at it, like, let's say, like, if you go on, I don't know, like, say celebrity deaths. Like, the biggest one of the 2010s is maybe... Personally, I'd say Muhammad Ali, because that's the one that mattered to me the most. But he was, like, in his 70s, and he had Parkinson's for 35 years. It's not shocking or anything.
Wow, that's a long time.
Maybe Robin Williams, I guess. Whereas the 007 years, the Bond years, ended the decade in 2009 with Michael Jackson, which was humongous.
That's a big deal.
And then the 2020s started like 6 weeks into 2020, Kobe Bryant and his daughter died in a helicopter crash.
Again, like super tragic.
Right. So it seems like everything, and then even going back, like
although
the 50s,
Robin Williams was super tragic too.
Yeah, but even that, like he was in his 60s, and Robin Williams is big, but he's not like Michael Jackson big. He's just not.
I mean, I would say he's as big as Kobe Bryant.
Maybe, but Kobe Bryant and his daughter died in a plane crash when Kobe was like 41.
Yeah.
Robin Williams was in his mid-60s.
It's sadder, but although Robin Williams died because of depression, like that's sad too.
Sure, but I mean, it doesn't make it all that much tragic, frankly.
I don't know. I was affected by, I mean, I think they were both equal. Like, I think Kobe Bryant, you're right, it was just so fucking sad, and to see all the support, like, obviously everyone was like, oh, Robin Williams, like, he was taken too soon, he was so great as an actor, but, like, Kobe Bryant, just, like, everyone's heart just broke.
Yeah,
like,
that's kind of proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
And
so
then,
I guess, even, like, at some capacity, Robin Williams wanted to die because he killed himself,
right.
So, like, it's different, and Kobe, yeah.
So then, like, even going back further, like you say, oh, the 50s had, like, oh, the Korean War, which is a big deal. The 40s had World War II.
Well,
the 40s is not even comparable. They had Pearl Harbor to like in 41.
Although to your point, it's not
dropped
that the
2
50s
atomic bombs.
Weren't like just because better things happen or like more significant things happen in the off years. Like things are still happening in the odd numbers.
It's entirely my point that I'm making. is that
well, you said not much happens.
not much happens relative to the other years, and most of it is just in response. Like all of the 2000 teens was like basically like American policy was in response to 9/11, pretty much. Probably still, frankly.
I'm trying to think if anything happened.
The
in
Korean
20
War
teens.
and the Cold War was all just in response to the end of World War II, and like a nuclear arms race between the U.S. and the Soviets, which started in the 40s. Just dropping bombs on Japan. The Great Depression was all through the 30s. It started when the stock market crashed in 1929. It's all just like the even-numbered decades handing stuff off to the biggest. Donald Trump being elected is probably maybe the biggest moment in the American collective conscious in the 20 teens. The Bond years had Barack Obama being elected, which is infinitely
Black.
larger. Yeah, black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
which
also
is,
like Trump is in. Like Obama was a huge deal for everyone, and
Yeah.
Trump is only a big deal for liberals.
he's just an idiot. But it's not.
I
So
know,
the,
but
the
it's-
point is
it's-
that it's like everything you can do, I can do better. Like the even numbered,
Sure.
like even look anywhere, like in sports, like to the in this century at least, the 2000s as opposed to 2010s had Michael Phelps winning 8 gold medals. Like that was probably the defining moment in the past 20 years in American sports. I don't know what the Cubs winning the World Series. If you don't follow baseball, you don't fucking care.
Well, the 20 teens was like Simone Biles in gymnastics.
Yeah, but
yeah,
she won 3 gold medals, was it?
I mean,
She's
she's not
fantastic.
She's not as big of a name as Michael Phelps. I'll give you that one.
And also 2008 was Usain Bolt winning,
Yeah,
breaking the world record.
yeah, it's a big
And
deal too.
so, I mean, it's just like all these cultural moments and all these. And I'm not saying nothing happened in the 70s. I'm not saying nothing happened in the 30s. It's just like it seems like the even numbered decades going like back 100 years
When
pretty
was
much at this
Obama
point.
elected?
2008.
Okay.
It seems like all the big moments belong to these even numbered. Even like the millennium, if you start the years with 1980, 1990, Y2K and the millennium turning over was like the start of the 2000s, of the Bond years.
Yep.
So it's just all these big moments. It's just something that I thought was interesting to think about. All these big moments seem to belong to the even numbered decades.
We've cracked the code.
I guess the exception that proves the rule is probably Elvis, who did most of his stuff in the 50s, but he was still famous in the 60s and performing. So, but yeah, Elvis.
I think
is probably
celebrities
the
is kind of
exception
hard because.
but not really. Beatlemania
Like-
was in the whatever the fuck, was this in the 60s, and then
Oh.
I think Bieber Fever was in the aughts,
Because I was gonna say we have.
which is like this generation's Beatlemania, unfortunately.
I was gonna say.
Harry Potter
I was gonna say. In the what?
in the Bond years.
Early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, I think the first one came out in like 98.
I was gonna say we had a Harry Potter in our 2010s, The Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, but like the
Which,
bulk of the
of
books
course.
and almost all the movies came out.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just
Yeah.
saying I was surprised to see that we had a Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's just something to think about.
no, it's interesting. It's weird. Yeah.
So how's your movie list going?
Am I picking? Let's see.
I still don't know.
I
What you
could literally
think.
just list
I
really
still
quickly.
Jessica, listen to me.
What?
I wanted to know, and I asked you, and I think I made this pretty abundantly clear.
Stop with the theatrics. Just.
Fuck you, Jessica. We're recording a show. It's all theatrics.
I know, but you're being mean to me.
I'm not being mean to you. I'm saying I think I made it clear that I asked you to tell me what you thought your favorite movie or the best movie
I can't do
was
it.
of the last decade. I
do
still don't know what you think it is.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Just pick a movie. I don't care. Pick a terrible movie. I don't care. Just put your name behind it and say this is it.
I really liked What Happened to Monday on Netflix.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, I know you hate that movie. You asked me to. You forced me to pick
Was
one.
that on the list?
Of course
Or
not.
did you just
That
pull
was
that
my
out
own-
of your...
That was my own
What's
list.
the point of the list?
I didn't like them.
So why'd you write all these down?
No, this is on my list.
Oh, okay.
But it's not on the. I didn't take it from the top 200 movies of the decade. I took
It
it.
didn't make the top 200
Stop
list?
it.
Oh, sweetheart. I don't think it would have made a top 500, frankly.
I liked it a lot.
It was pretty mediocre. Go ahead and tell the readers what happened. What is it called?
What Happened to Monday?
What happened to Dear Monday? Tell the listeners what
So
that is.
What Happened to Monday is a Netflix original movie. It seems like I mean, look, I don't know what I'm talking about, but anyway.
Always a good start.
Who is the girl with the Rooney Mara? No, that's the one that looks like her. Who's the girl with the dragon tattoo lady?
Tilda Swinton.
Okay. I don't know. Someone Google the girl from the dragon tattoo woman, because that's the woman that's in this movie. Anyway.
Ronald, pull that up.
So yeah, you can pull it up while I talk. Basically.
Ronald's pulling it up.
Okay. Basically.
That way we can still chat because we are the talent.
Exactly.
I'm the talent. You are the talent's significant other.
Person that keeps interrupting me. That's what you are. Basically, it's about.
What was that?
A father.
Jessica?
Can you
got
stop?
something?
Can you stop?
Say to me?
Can you stop?
Yeah.
Basically, it's about I don't know how these kids are created or if they I'm assuming they're anyway. So there are 7 children, and this is in like a dystopian society where Donald.
Donald just gave me a communique. You want to know who the star was in the girl with the
Yes.
dragon tattoo? Daniel Craig. It's one Daniel Craig.
The female star?
Rooney Mara.
It is Rooney Mara. Okay. Anyway, so basically, there are 7 children, and they're named for each day of the week, and it's in a dystopian society where you're only allowed to have one child. So they're identical twins, basically, and they basically all put on a wig. And the day of the week that they're named after is the one day of the week that they're allowed to go outside and like be a person. Yeah, it's a super interesting movie. It's really, it's so good. It's so good. I'm not even going to give you any plot points because you really can't without spoiling everything, but there's a lot of violence, and Rooney Mara always is a badass chick, so she's doing her badass stuff.
Do you know Rooney Mara, I think the Maras own the Giants, the New York Giants, and the Rooneys own the Steelers, and she's like their grandparents are married or something, so she is in theory...
Her first name is the last name of one of her grandparents? I'm
pretty sure. I think I don't know that she is like the heir apparent or anything, but I think technically eventually she would be in line to inherit both the Steelers and the Giants, as well as probably some other billion-dollar fortune.
Honestly,
you can't just own a sport. I mean, you can if you're Jerry Jones, but other
Hollywood
than that,
is so nepotistic.
Oh yeah. It's
insane.
It's really incestuous. But anyway,
yeah.
So what happened to Monday is your best film.
I really liked it a lot.
Dear reader, to give a different perspective, it's like 2 hours long or so. I got about an hour and 10 into it, and then I said, "This is just so boring."
Asleep.
I don't think I fell asleep. I think I tapped out. I think I said I don't want to watch this anymore. Yeah, I said I'm done.
Which is very rare. Rob can usually sit through a movie.
Yeah, maybe I might have done that in like 3...
No, you fell asleep. I
don't.
And then we tried to watch it a second time, and you said no.
Maybe I've probably walked away from or walked out of 3 movies in this almost 6 years we've been dating.
I don't think I've walked out of a single one.
I'm just saying it's very, very uncommon.
No, I agree with you. I'm just trying
And this movie gets my stamp of it. It wasn't horrible. It was just kind of boring, frankly. I
loved it. As you know, though, like, I think my favorite movies are the ones that are really long. Which is funny, because yeah.
You usually...
Like, Wrist Cutters was very drawn out.
It was drawn out. But
and Eternal Sunshine is a little bit drawn out.
Normally, I'll say, "Oh, this movie's 2 hours."
The Fall was drawn out.
The Fall was like 6 months long.
One of my favorite.
I'll say this movie is an hour and 15 minutes. You go, ooh, that's too long. If a movie is longer than an hour 40, which is like 60% of films made at least released in the U.S., you say no, too long.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't wanna.
My absolute favorite movie of all time, Merlin, is 3 hours long.
So why don't you give longer movies more of a chance?
I do.
You don't. You say, I don't know what this movie's about. I don't even know what it's called. I don't care. You just told me it's 2 hours and 2 minutes. I'm not watching it.
If a movie looks good and if you hook me in a trailer, I'll watch it.
No, you say no before we watch the trailer. I'll say this movie, we're watching Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. What's it about? It was released in 2012. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's about it. No! 2 hours and 15 minutes? No!
We watched one with my family. Oh, we watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood recently again, and that's like 2:30.
I know, and you really didn't want to do that.
Well, that's because I didn't love it the first time, but I wasn't...
Right, you didn't want to watch it the first time.
Look, okay, I did like it a lot.
So
look, okay, I'll try to give it more of a chance.
It's fine, I don't care,
right.
I'm just saying, it's interesting.
It is, it doesn't make any sense.
What's your worst movie of the decade? The 2010s.
Oh, God. I put in all caps, The Lighthouse. That movie was...
Probably a controversial pick, but okay.
So bad. No. If you think that movie was good, I will personally fight you. Physically.
Jessica. Jessica, you're 49 years old. You're 4'11". You have one leg. You can't be challenging people to fight. So you have two stents in your heart.
Fine. If you like the movie, I'll be personally offended, and I will cry alone.
There you go. That's probably true.
But I think it would be between The Lighthouse. I put Her down just because I saw that a couple days ago and talked about it on the podcast. Her.
I know the movie. I think Her was nominated for Best Picture. I think so was
Robert,
The Lighthouse.
I didn't like it. I'm telling you, they were both on the lists of top movies, and I said, absolutely not. These are going on my list of bottom movies.
Okay.
And
Power bottom, though.
Real quick,
fair to say.
This one I want to get a couple more out.
Power bottom movies. I said it the first time, and you just
I didn't hear you.
Hear me.
Okay,
I don't think Jessica listens to her, and I'm telling you this because she's not listening.
I would say if I'm going for like really just genuinely bad.
As opposed to what?
Like, I personally...
Cosmically bad? What are you talking about?
I personally hated a couple of these movies.
Okay.
But, like...
Hated.
50 Shades of Grey, everyone would agree is a bad movie.
Okay.
So I'm saying, like, The Lighthouse, as you said, is controversial. A lot of people loved it. Her won Best Whatever. Like,
nominated.
I don't think that those are overall bad movies. I just really hated them.
Are you about to start crying? What the fuck is happening?
I don't know why that keeps happening. I'm getting
Do you
really...
want to lie down?
I'm getting really passionate.
Just pick a movie.
So, The Lobster was a waste of my goddamn time. That was so fucking bad. Annihilation was weird as shit. Arrival was terrible.
Arrival is not terrible.
Yes, it was. Lady Bird made me want to die.
You've picked like 4 or 5.
I know.
I think Arrival didn't win the Oscar, but Arrival was... You picked like 4 movies that have been nominated for the Best Picture.
I know.
I'm just letting you know.
That's why the list of the worst movies, because like the list of the worst movies had movies that I thought were so bad I didn't even see them. So I was like, okay this isn't
kind of fair.
Fun. And like it was like Jack and Jill, and I was like, okay, it's not even fun to talk about it because it's like, okay, they like 50 Shades of Grey. I think some people did like, and there is a large demographic that loved the book.
Yeah,
so
they
like
jerked off in the theater.
I mean, 50 Shades of Grey, I have so many thoughts about. It just was bad in ways that are just nauseating. Like, it made BDSM...
To be fair, you are a lifelong Mormon. You do belong to the Church of Latter-day Saints, so it's understandable that you would find that nauseating.
It made BDSM just look like abuse, and, like, that's not okay, and, like, I'm just saying, it did a lot of bad things for the BDSM community.
Which you are, as we all know, a spokesperson of.
Thank you.
Pick a movie that you think is the worst movie of the 2010s. I'll say you can pick one and a runner-up, but you've named like 8 movies.
Okay, so I'm gonna do, like, overall I would say 50 Shades, because that one I feel like is universally accepted as, like, not good.
And damaging to the collective psyche of the United States.
Exactly.
Okay,
and,
fine.
You know what? Oh, God, this is hard. This is really hard.
You had like 6 hours to do this.
Another one I just found.
Instead of
Uncut Gems. Just absolute.
Jessica.
Just one of the worst.
Okay, a few things that you're doing wrong. One, you're eating right now. Not a great radio procedure. But
I'm having
2,
my B-lar.
all of these movies, or almost all of them, that you've rallied against have been out in like the last 2 years. A decade, Jessica, is 10 years.
Well, Arrival and Annihilation were
those
not
were like
that
2016, recent. And those are the furthest back you've gone with any of these. Also, you're picking pretty decent movies.
No.
So I would say my worst movies...
And I'm telling you, I went through literally every single year by the year, so I'm sorry that I'm only hating the recent ones, but...
It seems like you're not really... Anyway, my worst movies were probably... The Emoji Movie was probably my runner-up.
Did you see it?
I think I saw part of it. And then... it was horrible.
We definitely didn't see it together.
No, I think I saw it on a plane or something. And then the worst movie, or maybe the best, I don't know. I vacillate. It moves through my memory like a sheer white curtain flowing
Cats?
in a breeze. It is Cats. Thank you for stepping on my...
I wrote that down too in my worst movies of the decade.
Line, but
sorry, you're right.
I talk about this every single podcast.
I know. I just wanted to...
I'm going to stop complaining because what's the point?
I just want you to know that we're in sync, you know what I mean?
It's clearly not informing your behavior, so it's just aggravating me. So, and wasting airtime. So Cats I don't know. We did a whole episode on it. You can go listen to it, or probably don't. You could watch the movie. You probably shouldn't, but I think you might have to.
I feel like the only reason that we only did one episode on it was because Rob was like, we were out of time, but I could do an entire second episode.
We were over time.
We were.
Listen, we're not going to go down this cat hole again.
I have a lot more to say about
please
cats.
let's not. So anyway,
I'll go down this cat hole. Let me in.
That's why I made the joke.
Oh, I didn't get it.
Normally a rabbit hole. Cats don't live in holes.
I know. I thought you were just making like a pun, but like I thought that you weren't sexual about it. Anyway.
And then my best movies, I don't know. I really liked Interstellar. It's probably my runner-up. And the best movie...
Okay.
The best movie, in spite of me telling you to pick movies from more than 6 months ago, was probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
How dare you?
It was definitely the best Tarantino movie, I think, and probably the funniest.
It's the only Tarantino movie that I don't despise, so...
So there you go. That's all the seal of approval you need.
I need less foot shots, though, please.
Well, I can only do so much. I'm but a man. Oh, you know what I thought about today? That's kind of weird.
What?
I think in the original version it was like bachelors, but when they changed it to Goldilocks and the Three Bears instead of three bachelor bears and an old lady, Goldilocks goes in, right?
I'm sorry, what?
In the nursery rhyme, Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Yeah.
Goldilocks goes in, and in all the versions I've ever heard, because I read about this on Wikipedia, it started as three bachelor bears and an old lady who jumps out the window. So that makes sense. But
does it?
It makes sense for the point I'm about to make.
Got it.
In all the versions I've ever heard, Goldilocks goes in and she breaks into the house of Mama Bear, Papa Bear, Baby Bear, cub. She sleeps in all their beds. Why are Mama and Papa Bear sleeping in different beds? What the fuck is going on? Is this the Brady Bunch?
Mama and Papa Bear?
No, even the Brady Bunch sleep together. What's
Mama
that other
and Papa
one?
Bear are going through a tough time right now.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. But it always struck me as odd. But
I've never once thought about that.
Yeah, well, welcome to the Thunderdome, babe. Welcome to the fucking show.
You're really elevating.
Oh, I had an impression.
Let's hear it.
I have an impression. Okay, this is...
No, I should get back.
That wasn't it, but it could have been it. This is my Robert De Niro impression. You ready?
No, you're not supposed to tell me, remember?
This is an impression that I would love for you to guess. Ready? That's it.
You thought that was good radio? You were doing a finger thing the whole time. He's wagging his finger, but oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, so that's my impression of the day, and I think we're... No, we got like 2 minutes.
Wow,
to
that
burn
was
if
so
you want.
fast. That went by so quickly.
That's what happens when you do good show prep.
Well, I don't know.
You have to follow it up with something, Jess. Okay,
No,
listen to me. Listen to me, Jessica. Be quiet. This is important. This is very important.
Sure.
For every single time we do the show, this is important. When you say something like, let's say, I've explained this to you at least a dozen times.
Let's keep it off the radio then.
No. I want you to listen carefully, because I'm explaining this so that you understand it. Okay? So try to remember this. When you say something, and this doesn't even apply to just the radio, but especially on the radio, when you say something like, well, it seems as though you're going to start a sentence.
Yeah.
So then you have the floor.
Yep.
You have the mic.
Yep.
You have the conch shell. So I don't talk.
Yeah.
So if you go, well, and then don't have anything.
You should know this about me by now.
Then what do we have?
Papillon was good.
Dead air is what we have.
Papillon?
Dead air is bad.
Papillon was good. You remember Papillon?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Papillon was the one with the sexy Arthur man, and I think he was on the biker thing too.
What the fuck is going on right now?
Okay. Rami Malek and the sexy blonde man that was in King Arthur.
Jessica, I've never heard of this movie before in my life.
They were in jail and...
Oh, they were on some French island or something.
Yes.
That movie was mediocre. Best.
I liked it.
Ugh.
And The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Crimson Peak was beautiful. I don't remember if it was a good movie or not, but I enjoyed my time and it was pretty.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there.
Cabin in the Woods.
No, I'm going to stop you right there.
Stop! Don't yell at me.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Oh, goodness.
You keep inching your foot over and stepping on my toes. And you, for some reason, despite the fact that we are upstairs, indoors, and it's 2 a.m, you're wearing sneakers. And so you keep stepping on my toes, and I keep moving my foot, and you keep moving your foot further into this protected settlement. This is a Sudeten land, and you're just marching your troops right in here.
Oh my god. All right, the shoes are off.
All right, Netanyahu, this is respect the fucking board. Get off of me. We're done. We're that's time. See you later, pod racers.